Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be making the tutorial for these bralettes. It's a two-piece and I've posted the tutorial for the shorts. If you've not gotten it yet, I'm going to link it on the description below so you can get that whenever you want. So you guys wanted the top as well so you can get your own two-piece. So without further ado, let's get into that. Alright, so the reason why I'm showing you on the mannequin is because I want to show you how to get the measurements right. So I'm going to be doing the size for this mannequin, so I'll just show you now how to take the measurements on your own body, or if you want to do with your mannequin size as well. Okay, so these are the materials you are going to need for this project. Your yarn, of course. This time around I'm using a 5-ply cotton yarn, and then you need a measurement tape, you need some stitch markers, you need a tapestry needed to weave in your ends, and then you need a scissors. Then for this particular bralette, I'm going to be using these two hook sizes. This is a 4mm hook size, and this is 4.5mm hook size. I'm going to be using the 4mm hook size to create the cup, and I'm going to switch to the 4.5mm hook to do the body of this bralette. All right. Okay, so the measurement you are going to need for these bralettes are 3 core measurements, okay? So the first one is going to be from your nipple down to under your bust here, all right? So this one is giving me 4 inches. See it? So make sure the measurement tape is starting from your nipple down to under your bust. So I got 4 inches right here. And then the second measurement is going to be your breasts. So the whole breast, this part, make sure the measurement tape is passing through your nipple, right? And then just try and get it like this. All right, so this one is giving me exactly 9 inches. Okay, so but working with yarns, you know, is very tricky. Depending on the kind of yarn you're using, some stretches, so you do not have to go all the way to the 9 inches. Don't worry, as we are going, I'll keep explaining to you what I mean by that, because when the yarn stretches, you have to drag it. So when you make your chains or do your stuff, you have to stretch it and imagine how it will come out on you. But I always advise you put it on your body to know exactly what you are doing, because you know the mannequin definitely is not skin. All right, so your body takes some parts of the yarn as well. All right, so the third measurement is going to be just around your body here, just underneath your breast. You know it's a bralette, so it's not a full top, so the part you are going to take is going to be just underneath your breast here. So this is giving me 26. All right, so but like I said, stretchy yarn or no stretching. So when you get how many did I get now? Okay, I got 26. So I'm not going to go ahead to do the exact 26 because I still want the design at the back to come out. So I'm just going ahead now to take out 6 inches out of it. So I'm going to take out either 5 or 6 inches depending on how much back I want exposed. All right, so you go ahead now to take your measurements and we'll get to it. And as we go, I'll be showing you what you need to do and what not. All right. Okay, so now to start this project, you are going to be starting with the cup. All right, so we are going to create the 2 cups first. The size I'm using, like I told you before, is my mannequin's size. All right, so where I'm going to start from, I'm going to create the chain that is from the nipple to your under bust, which is the very first measurement we took on the mannequin. All right, so whatever inches you got from your nipple to your under bust is what you are going to chain up now. Mine, I got 4 inches, so I'm going to chain up 4 inches. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So this 13 is going to work for the 4 inches. All right, let me just show you. So as you can see, so like I told you, when you measure it, you have to stretch it out because you can't just do 4 inches like that. When you wear it, this particular yarn will stretch. It's a 5-ply cotton yarn. That's why I told you your different yarn determines how you do your own measurement. So whatever it is, just when you want to measure it, just when you put your measurement tape like that, make sure you drag it out. Okay, so now this is the length my own gave me. All right, when dragged out. All right, so you go ahead to do that when you take your own measurement. So the cup will not be too big or too small for you. All right, so mine, I'm going to be using 13 chains. All right, so my foundation chain is 13. The row 1 now, I'm just going to chain up 2, 1 and 2. All right, and on the 13th chain you are going to be putting in 1 single crochet. All right, yeah, okay. So this chain 2 that you did here now, you are going to put a stitch marker right there. Okay, so just put the stitch marker on the chain 2 that you made here. All right, and then continue to do single crochet until the end of this row. Okay, and make sure you are counting the stitch. So that's 2, that is 3, 4, and 13. So you see that we got 13 because we made 13 chains. All right, so that's for our row 1. For the row 2, you are just going to chain up 1, turn your work, and do single crochet on the very first stitch right here, and continue doing single crochets until the end of this row. All right, and make sure you are counting the stitch. Okay, so this one now, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 13. So you remember this chain 2 now that you put your stitch marker in. You are going to remove the stitch marker there now, and you put in 3 single crochet on that space, the chain 2 space. Now you are going to go in with 3 single crochets in there. So that's 1 and 2, and on this second stitch now you are going to put your stitch marker to mark the second stitch. Okay, and on that same stitch you put 1 more single crochet, so that makes it 3 single crochet on that chain 2 space. All right, and then now continue putting single crochet on each of the stitch until you get to this part. Make sure you count 13 stitches. All right, so that's 1 and then 2, 3, 4, 5, 13. So now you have your 13th stitch. All right, so now for the next row you are going to chain up 1 and then turn your work, and then on this first stitch you are going to put in 1 single crochet and continue to work your single crochet, and I will meet you where our stitch marker is. All right, okay, so I've gotten to where the stitch marker is now. All right, like I said, always count your stitch. So now we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. All right, so where the stitch marker is now, you're going to remove it and put in 3 single crochets on that stitch. All right, 1, 2 and 3 on that same stitch. So put your stitch marker back in the very second one that you made. Okay, it's very important to use your stitch markers. Okay, so now you are going to now count 14 single crochet down here again. So you are going to be putting in 14 single crochet on 1 single crochet on each of the stitches until you get 14 counts. All right, so continue to put in single crochet now, and then chain 1 when you get to this end, then come back again with 1 single crochet. Then when you get to this part, I'll come back to show you what you're going to do here. Okay, Okay, so I've gotten to where the stitch marker is again, and now I have 15 stitches. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 14 15. So as you go, you know, because of the increase you are making here on top of here, you will be having one more stitch on your rows. All right, so the fact that you have 15 stitch on this row, now when you come to this row, make sure it's 15 that you have. All right, so now that I've gotten to where the stitch marker is again, I'm going to remove this stitch marker and I'm going to put 3 single crochet on this particular stitch. Okay, so that's 1 and that's 2, and I'm going to be marking the second stitch now, and on that same stitch you are going to be putting 1 more single crochet. So now you have 3 single crochets on that stitch. So now go ahead to put 1 single crochet each until you get 15. Okay, so this is exactly how you create your cup. So you go ahead now to keep doing that. When you get to where your stitch marker is, make sure you put 3 on that same stitch. Okay, and always mark the middle one, which is the second single crochet you put on that stitch, with a stitch marker, because when you come back, that is where you are going to be doing your increase. So you go ahead now to create your cup, and when I'm done with my own size, I'll come back to show you how it looks, and I'll tell you what we are going to do next. Okay, so I'm done with the single crochet part of the bra cup, and this is how it's looking now. All right, so this one now measures let me see. Okay, now we have exactly 6 inches. All right, don't forget we got 9 on the mannequin, and the plan is to make it 7. Like I told you, this stretches, so when it's on your bust, it will stretch out. All right, so whatever inches you got on your bust, just deduct 2 inches on it. All right, so since this one is giving us 6 inches now, don't forget we are going to be making 2 rows of mesh, so that one is going to be 1 more inches, and it will complete 7 inches. All right, so I've gone ahead to make the other one. So this is how it's looking now with the mesh on it. All right, so this is exactly 7 inches on the bust. So now I'm going to be showing you how I created the mesh on that one. All right, so now we are going to be switching to our 4.5mm hook. You know, we've been using the 4mm hook for the cup. We are done with the 4mm hook. We are switching now to the 4.5mm hook size. So what you are going to do now, you are going to chain up 3, 1 2 and 3, and then turn your work. Okay, so this chain 3 now is going to be serving as 1 double crochet. So now you are going to be skipping the next stitch, which is this one, and go into the next stitch with a double crochet. All right, so chain 1, then skip the next stitch, and in the next put in 1 double crochet. Then skip and chain 1 again, skip the next stitch, and in the next put in 1 double crochet. So that is exactly what you are going to do for this row until you get to the stitch marker on the middle part here. And when you get here, I'll come back to show you what you are going to do next. Okay, so I've gotten to where the stitch marker is now. So as you can see, my own count didn't level up with this one, so this is what we are going to do here. So the stitch now is very close to this part, so all I just need to do to create this normal increase we've been doing here, I'm just going to put in a regular double crochet in that middle stitch, and then chain 1, and in that same stitch you're going to put in 1 more double crochet. Okay, and then you're going to put your stitch marker where you chained 1. All right, so now on the next stitch, like we did here, now you are going to be putting in 1 double crochet. So you see our increase still continued, and now you are just going to chain up 1, skip 1, and just continue creating the mesh until you get to the end of this row. Okay, so we are at the end of this row now. All right, so for the last stitch, I'm just going to chain one and put one double crochet on the very last stitch right here to end this row. Okay, so now for the row 2 on the mesh stitch, you are going to chain up 3, 1, 2 and 3, then turn your work, and then you are going to be skipping the space here and going into the double crochet stitch you did on the previous row, and you're going to put one double crochet on that stitch, then chain one again, put in one double crochet on the next stitch, skipping the space. All right, so chain one, skip the space, and on the next stitch you put in one double crochet, chain one again, skip the space, and on the next stitch you put in one double crochet. So that is what you are going to be doing until you get to the stitch marker part again, and I'll come back to show you how we create the mesh here. Okay, so I've gotten to where the stitch marker is again, which is the middle, and now this one aligns. I now have one stitch here before the stitch marker, so I'm going to just remove the stitch marker now, and then chain one, skip the last stitch here, and go into the middle and put the normal one double crochet, and then chain one and put in one double crochet on that same space to continue the increase. All right, so go ahead again and put your stitch marker on our middle space there. All right, so what you do now, you continue putting in your mesh. So chain one and then skip the stitch here and then put in one double crochet. So chain one again, go ahead to keep creating the mesh by putting chaining one and putting in one double crochet on the next double crochet stitch while skipping the space. All right, so now continue to do that until you get to this end here, and when we get here I'll come back to tell you what we're going to do next. Okay, so I've gotten to the end of the row. So now we have our 2 mesh row on the bra cup. All right, so in order to get this one, I did 24 rows of the single crochet, and then I did 2 mesh rows of double crochet. So that is how I got my 7 inches altogether for the bra cup. All right, don't forget 9 inches from the measurements, and I removed 2 inches and I got 7 inches because it stretches. All right, so do not forget that part of it. All right, so now what you're going to do, you go ahead now to create an identical of this particular one that you've just seen. So make sure you do the 2 to be exact, because you don't want one to be bigger than the other one or smaller than the other one. So when you get your 2 bra cups, I'll come back to show you what we are going to do next. Okay, so now the next step is going to be joining the 2 cups together. All right, we want to start creating the body of the top now. So we are going to start by joining these 2 cups together. So in order to join these cups together now, where you stopped the mesh here, now what you're going to do, you're going to be doing single crochet all across. All right, you do a single crochet just all across the bottom here, and when you get here I'll meet you here to show you how we are going to join both together. All right, so I'm just going to start my single crochet now. You chain one, then on this mesh space now you are going to put in 2 single crochet in there. Okay, and then go into the next space and put in 2 single crochet in there, and then just continue putting in your 1 single crochet on each of the stitch until you get to the end here, and like I said, I'll show you how we join it together. All right, okay, so I've gotten to the end here, so it's just remaining the last mesh stitch now. Okay, so we are supposed to go into this last mesh stitch with 2 single crochet. All right, so instead of going into the mesh stitch with the 2 single crochet, just put 1 single crochet in there, and then take the last chain stitch here and go in with the single crochet. Okay, so it will align with this part. So to join, you are going to be taking the very first stitch from here. You see this place here, this end mesh here, you go into this stitch right here, and then you are going to do a slip stitch to put it together. Do this very well. So go into the first stitch now and make a slip stitch, just like that. Okay, so now on the next space here, which is the mesh space, you are going to put in 2 single crochet in there, like we did in this beginning. Okay, so put in 2 single crochet on that mesh space, and on the very next mesh space, put in 2 single crochet. And then just continue working your 1 single crochet like you did on this part. Just keep working the single crochet until you get to this part here, and I'll come back to show you what we are going to do next. Okay, so this is how it's looking already. So continue making your single crochet now, and I'll meet you here. Okay, so we've gotten to the end of the row, the single crochet row where we joined the 2 cups together. So this is how it's looking now. All right, so now it's time to start working on the body of the bralettes. All right, so what you're going to do now, you are not going to continue from here yet. Just leave here, come to this other side of the cup and chain up 20. All right, so go into the very first stitch right here on this cup and chain up 20. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. So chain an extra 1 and then tie it. Okay, so now you have 20 here. Okay, so this part is supposed to be for the body, which is the part that is going back. If you know you want your own longer than this one, you can go ahead to add more chains to your own, but me, I'm just going to stop at 20 chains. All right, and now to continue this part, you are going to chain up 20 chains here as well. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. Okay, so now you have 20 on each side. So now that you have 20 here, you are going to turn your work, turn it to the other side. All right, so on this row now, the row 1 of the body, you are going to be putting in 1 double crochet on each stitch. All right, so chain up 2, and on the 3rd stitch, go in with a double crochet. Okay, and then on the next stitch, go in with a double crochet. And when you are doing your double crochets, make sure you get the right count. All right, so you go ahead now to do your double crochets. When you get to this middle place here, I'll show you what to do to close this place. In the middle where we do our joining, there's a tricky part here that I need to show you. Okay, so this part that we joined together now, what you're going to do, you know, on the last single crochet we put on this part of the cup, on this side of the cup, you are going to go in with a double crochet, but do not finish it. All right, so we are going to be doing a decrease on this part with the 2 last single crochet stitch right here. So now when you have 2 on your hook, yarn over again and go into the next single crochet stitch here and do a decrease. All right, just at the place you have the slip stitch where we joined in the previous row. Okay, so just do a decrease there and continue putting 1 double crochet on each of the stitches until you get to the very end of the chain that we created on this side as well. And I'll meet you here to tell you what we're going to do. Okay, so I've gotten to the end of this row. So this is how it's looking. Okay, So now for the next row, we are going to be creating a mesh. All right, so now you are going to be chaining up 3, 1, 2, and 3, and then turn your work. So now you are going to be skipping the very first stitch. This chain 3 now is standing as 1 double crochet, so you are going to skip the first stitch and go into the next stitch with 1 double crochet. All right, and now chain 1 and skip 1 stitch and go into the next stitch with a double crochet. So chain 1 again, skip 1 stitch and go into the next with a double crochet. So on this row, this is what you're going to be doing. Chain 1, skip 1 stitch, and on the next stitch you do a double crochet. So that is how you create the mesh for this row, and continue doing yours, and I'll meet you at the end here to tell you what we are going to do on the next row. All right, okay, so I'm done with the row of the mesh stitch. So this is how we are looking. All right, so the next row now is going to be repeating this double crochet on this next row. Okay, so now you are going to chain up 2, 1 and 2, then turn your work to the other side, and on this same stitch now you are going to be putting in 1 double crochet there, and then on the space you are going to put in 1 double crochet, and then the next space, the next stitch, you are going to put in 1 double crochet, and then the space you are going to put in 1 double crochet. So this is the pattern you are going to follow for this row. So 1 double crochet inside the space and 1 double crochet on the stitch, 1 double crochet in the space and 1 double crochet on the previous double crochet stitch. So on this row, this is what you are going to be doing. All right, you are going to work this one now until you get to this end part here, and then when you get here you chain up 3 and you create a mesh row again. All right, so I don't know how long you want yours to be, but I'm going to go off camera now and then I'll do another mesh row. All right, so I'm just going to do 2 steps of it, and when I'm done I'll come back to show you how it's looking, or if I want to make it longer or do something else. All right, but for now I'm just going to go off camera and create 1 more double crochet row which I've started, and I'll do 1 more mesh row and I'll come back to show you how it's going. All right, okay, so I'm done with the body of the bralette. So this is how it's looking. I ended up putting 1, 2, 3 of the normal double crochet and 1, 2, 3 of the mesh rows. All right, so I did 3, 3 of each of the rows. So this is how it's looking. I'm going to be stopping here because I told you it's not a full top, it's just a bralette. So if I go anymore it will be too long, but if you like it longer you can go ahead to put as much row as you want. All right, but me, I'm going to be stopping mine here. All right, so the next step now is going to be putting a single crochet from here. Now we are going to be working a single crochet all around down to this place. So when you get to this stitch marker, we are going to be putting the string that is going to end here, then we'll come down here again and go all the way down. But first things first, we are going to start from here. All right, so this is where we ended the last row of our mesh stitch. Okay, so now what we are going to be doing, we are going to start the single crochet from here, and then we are going to be working it all the way to this part. So when you get to the first stitch marker, I will come here to show you how we are going to put our string that is going to be going through our neck. All right, okay, so I just want to show you how you are going to start the single crochet all around the top. All right, so what you are going to do now, since we stopped at the mesh part here, you are going to chain up 1 and then you turn your work to the corner here. So you are going to be putting in 2 single crochets on this mesh space right here. Okay, and then you go to the next space where the regular double crochet is. You are just going to go in with 2 single crochet on that last stitch there, and then you go on to the next mesh space and put in 2 single crochet, and then to the next space here you put in 2 single crochet, and then to the next space you put in 2 single crochet, and then on this next space you're going to be putting in 2 single crochet. All right, so it's easier to count now, because whatever you do here, whatever you put on this particular place is what you put on this particular place. All right, so from here now it's very easy, because all you just need to be doing is following the stitches. Okay, so you're going to start from the very first stitch right here. First of all, when you end it here, you are going to chain one. In every corner you're supposed to chain one. Okay, so you chain one and go into the next stitch now with a single crochet. So just continue to work single crochet in each of every of the stitch, and then, like I said, when you get to this first stitch marker on the bra cup, I'll meet you here to show you what we're going to do next. Okay, so we've gotten to the first stitch marker. All right, so now we've gotten to the first stitch marker here where we are supposed to put our string. So what you're going to do now, you're going to remove the stitch marker from here. All right, so this is where our middle is, where the V stitch is. So what you're going to do now, you're going to go in with a single crochet. All right, and then you're going to chain up 100. All right, so now go ahead to chain up 100 on this. So I'll go off camera now to chain my 100, and I'll come back to tell you what we are going to do next. Okay, so I now have my 100 chains. All right, so what we're going to do now, we are going to be putting slip stitch in each of the chain stitch down to this part where we started our chain from. All right, so now on this stitch now, you're going to be putting in one slip stitch, but first chain one. All right, and then on the next stitch you are going in with a slip stitch. All right, and then the next stitch you are going in with a slip stitch. All right, so one slip stitch in each of the chain stitch until you get to this part, and when you get here I'm going to come back to tell you what we're going to do next. Okay, so I'm done creating the string, so I'm done with the slip stitches now. I'm just at the end here. I want to show you how we are going to connect it back into the bra cup. All right, so this is the very last stitch. Let me bring it down so you can see what I'm doing. So this is the very last stitch right here. So you are going to go in with a slip stitch, and then the very first single crochet we made to go up, go into that single crochet with a slip stitch, just like that. And now you see this next stitch on here now, just on top of this previous double crochet, you are going to go in there now with a double crochet. All right, so it's connected. So now what you are going to do, you just continue putting in the single crochet that you've been making. Okay, so just keep putting in one single crochet all around, and when you get to this second part, you are going to create exactly what we just did here. Okay, so these are the two strings that is going to go up on your neck like that when you wear the bralette. All right, so when you put the single crochet all across here like that, when you get to this place, do exactly the same thing. All right, and then continue putting the single crochet until you get to where you started from, which is this part here. And when you get to this part, I'll come back to show you how we are going to put the string that is going to hold the back together. All right, okay, so I'm done putting in the single crochet all across, creating the strings all around right now, and this is the back. This is how the back is looking. Let me show you the front. Okay, so this is the front. All right, so now the next step is going to be putting the string that is going to hold the back together. All right, so I've gone ahead to do the first one. So this is how the first one looks. Now I'm going to be using this other side to show you how I got this part. All right, okay, to create the string at the back, you are going to be attaching your yarn in that chain one space. You know, when you're doing your single crochets, when you get to these corners, I told you to put a chain one to create the corner. So you see that chain one now is where you are going to be attaching your yarn. All right, so attach your yarn in that space, and chain up 70. All right, 1 2 3 4 5. So you go ahead now to get your 70 chains, and when you are done, I'll come back to tell you what we're going to do next. Okay, so I've gotten my 70 chains now. All right, so what you are going to do now, you are going to be doing a slip stitch from this part to this very end here where you started from. All right, just exactly what we did on the top string. It's exactly the same thing we are repeating on the back string as well. So you go ahead now to do slip stitches. All right, so chain 1, and on the next stitch you put in your very first slip stitch. All right, so continue putting in your slip stitch until you get to this part here. All right, and when you get here, I'm going to come back to show you what you're going to do next. All right, okay, so I'm done putting in the slip stitches on the chain. So this is how it's looking now. All right, so I'm at the end here. To connect it back to the body of the top, you are going to be going into this space where you started the chain from with a single crochet, but you're not going to finish the single crochet because we're going to be doing a decrease with this part and the next stitch right here. All right, I hope you're seeing what I'm doing. All right, so now you are going to go in here with a single crochet, and then when you have 2 on your hook, go into the next stitch and do a decrease right here. All right, so that is how you connect it back. So go ahead now to put in single crochets all around this, all across this parts now. All right, so on the next stitch, just go in with the regular single crochet, doing single crochets all across this back parts. All right, so when you get to the next stitch marker now, where you have the chain 1 space, that is where you are now going to go in with the last single crochet. You remove your stitch marker from there, so go in with your with the last single crochet and then chain up the next 70. Okay, so go ahead now to chain up the 70 and do exactly the same thing that you did on this first one. You are going to repeat it here, okay, and end it here. All right, so I'm going to go off camera now to do mine, and when I'm done, I'll come back to show you the finished work. All right, okay, so I'm at the end of the second string now. Okay, I just want to show you how you end it here. All right, so I've just done the last stitch now. So to end this one, just go into the next stitch here on top of here and make a slip stitch just right there. Okay, so this is how you end this last one here. All right, so chain 1 and then cut off your yarn, and that is it for the string at the back. All right, so this is it. We are done with our top. Let me bring it up so you can see it very well. Yeah, so we are done with our top. So this is how it's looking. So this is how you work the back. You do this, and then instead of lacing it up and down, all you just need to do is tie the first one just like this, and then you tie the second one. All right, so this is our top. Let me show you the front. So this is how it looks in front. Yeah, you're definitely going to tie this one around your neck. So this is our top, our bralettes. All right. All right, we've gotten to the end of today's tutorial. I do hope you enjoyed this video, and I do hope that it helps you to create a beautiful bralette just like this as well. So if you do, make sure to like this video and make sure you subscribe to my channel if you've not done that already. And if you have any questions about this top, just put it on the comment section and I'll be happy to help. All right, so until next time, bye bye.